Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today we have another tri-screen kit for laptops. This one is from OFiyaa, and this is their X2 detachable tri-screen. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to take a look at this is because it sports a few additional features that other tri-screens that I've featured on the channel just simply don't have. And I'm optimistic that this one might be a little bit better built. So just to be clear, OFiyaa did reach out for this review, so this product has been provided by them. I did not personally purchase this. However, my opinions on this device will remain my own. So this is a higher end in terms of cost. We are looking at around 750 Canadian dollars, but I've seen it on sale from anywhere from 20 to 25% off. So you can get it as low as around $540. Now, this is designed for 13.3 inch up to 17 inch devices, so definitely not your smaller devices. And the actual panels themselves that attach are 12 inch, 19 by 20, 1080p panels. They are 220 nit IPS displays, 1000:1 contrast ratio, and more importantly, a 75% NTSC color accuracy, so not too bad at all. There are a few other things that this features that others don't, but we'll talk about that once we unpack it. So a few other details can be seen on the back of the box here, that this is the Model X2, and you can see some of the other data that I have just given you here. In terms of accessories, you have the kit itself, USB-A to C, USB-C, and HDMI to HDMI mini. Let's start the unboxing process by sliding the top cover off, opening the magnetic closure on the box, and removing this foam. So on the inside we have some advice here. So don't squeeze, don't pierce, remove the protective film, and just be mindful of the closing sequence. So we'll learn more about that in a bit. This thing definitely has some heft to it, and it looks like it separates into a few different pieces, so we'll take a look at that. We do have a product overview, and then on the bottom here we have all sorts of goodies. So here is the HDMI to HDMI mini, USB Type-C to USB Type-C, two of them in fact. We have a USB-A to USB Type-C, two of those, and then an HDMI to HDMI mini. And we also have a user's guide in here as well, so a fair bit of documentation. Let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the product overview guide, which talks about the package contents. It shows us how this thing opens up, the hinge degrees, the stand installation, and this is one of the things that I'm actually looking forward to, is the stand setup. Other devices that I have seen do not put the stand in a terribly great position. So if we move this off to the side and we take a look at this, this is the back that will actually cling to the laptop itself. And then these two panels open up, and we can see that this has an independent stand, and that is because it's actually removable. So while you can have these things cling, you can literally pull this off, and it's its own independent panel. You've got all your ports there, and you can set that up on your desk and you can just leave it. You don't have to have it attached to this thing. And if we flip open to the other side, we can see that the same arrangement happens here, where we've got a kickstand, and you can just simply pull it up and remove it. And then the main piece itself has a kickstand on the back as well, where you just twist, and you can choose all these different positions and set this up. Now, this to me is a smart way of actually using this device, because if you want, yes, you can have this whole thing set up and clipped on, and you can have both of these running off of the same device if you really wanted to. But if you don't need both of these hanging off of the same device, then all you would simply need to do is take these things off and split them even between two laptops, which I think is a much more multi-use and multi-friendly way of approaching the whole process. So bravo there. I think that they have created a relatively realistic solution and made a system that somebody might actually want to go out and buy. That might not be sold on having two screens hanging off the laptop as you see here, but having one, and they're very easy to remove. You just angle it up, line up the arrows, and just pull it off. That to me is just, it's smart, it's slick. What's also handy is that these have built-in speakers as well, so if you have, say, a game console, you can run that off of these no problem. And it's just one more additional touch that I really am pleased to see. So let's go ahead and pull the protective screens off. We reveal a nice matte display there. And let's test these out. All right, so we've got the trusty P50 here, and we're going to go ahead and take the OFiyaa. We're going to expand it and latch it from side to side on the display and make sure that it's resting on top. And we can bend these around, and then on the back side, we're going to go ahead and extend the kickstand just to make sure the laptop isn't doing all the heavy lifting. That being said, though, the kickstand is a little on the short side here, and it won't be touching the ground. So keep in mind that if you do have a larger computer, say 15 inches or bigger, then the kickstand is probably actually going to be useless. So it's a good effort, and thankfully it's not needed on the P50 because the P50 hinge is just so robust. But we could be in a situation where if you have a 15-inch or a 16 or larger laptop that does not have as good a hinge, then you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble and needing to use this device in its other configurations. To connect this, we are going to need one of the USB Type-C cables. For the other one, we will need a USB Type-C to USB Type-A to provide the power. And we'll need one of the HDMI cables to plug in the other display. So with everything plugged in, we'll go ahead and power on the P50. And lo and behold, everything works exactly as you would expect. We have 3 displays currently. One is duplicating the desktop, and the other one is our secondary display. But we can set these up however we want. The panels look nice. We've got easy to use volume controls on either panel. The one thing that I suspect is because they are 2 separate displays is that the audio is X2L and X2R, which probably indicates that it's going to fire out either the left or the right-hand side. That would be what I would expect. So unless you do some trickery in Windows, you're not going to get audio out of both displays simultaneously, at least not out of the box. You can definitely configure it, but there will be some work ahead of you on that front. But overall, I can confirm that they work as I would expect them to. Good brightness, good quality. Again, one of the things that I really appreciate is that you can just pop the panel out. And this is kind of neat. You could literally hand it to somebody working next to you. You could lay it flat. You can pop the stand, although if you are going to pop the stand, you're going to want to reverse this plug so it's facing the other direction, so it'll actually rest on the desk. So if we go ahead and do that now, and then we can put this literally at any angle, which again, really appreciate and respect this little attention to detail. Hopefully the system that they use to lock these panels in place, which are essentially these two hooks on the inside, don't wear out with time, because I think this is actually probably one of its better features on top of having speakers built into it. But having such a thin and lightweight panel with a kickstand built in means that you can travel with one of these independently and use it for phones, gaming consoles, and all sorts of other configurations. So let's see how this might work on a smaller device with maybe not quite as robust of a hinge. So here's a real test. This is the X1 Nano Gen 1, and it is theoretically a bit too small because it is 13 inches, but it's 16 by 10, so it doesn't necessarily fit. So if I slide the edges down here and do that, it's pretty clear that because this thing weighs about twice as much as the Nano, that this is going to tip over. So let's see if the stand can help us out. So if I swing the panels open, and I reach in behind and I adjust the stand down, then yes, we can get some relief for this little fella. And there we have it. This actually works considerably better than the other one that I've tested on the channel in terms of it actually staying on the device. So that's a plus. And then if we route our cables around, we will need two USB Type-C connectors here. And it works as you would expect it to. Now, one thing I need to be very clear about is that if I were actually using this setup with the X1 Nano, I would pop those things off and have them as two separate displays. So overall, my impressions of the OFiyaa X2 Tri Screen are as follows. I think that even though these devices are pretty niche and they do come at a premium price, that this is probably one of the better iterations that I've seen, mainly because you can use it in so many different configurations. With the removable screens, with the kickstands on each component, the built-in speakers are a nice additional touch. You know, they're not going to be super boomy or win any awards, but the fact that you do have a speaker is, you know, some consideration taken that others have not yet done. So overall, I think that this is one of those things where if you are not sold on the tri-screen concept, this is probably not going to push you in the direction. However, if you do like the idea of the tri-screen concept, but there was something holding you back, I would suggest that this probably will help begin to address that. And that's one of the things that's nice to see, is just a little bit of innovation in this area. Once again, I want to thank OFiyaa for sending this for me for testing. I really appreciate the little things that they've done to try and improve this concept to make it a little less cumbersome, and hopefully you've enjoyed this exploration as well. I'll leave some YouTube stuff over here if you're looking to support the channel, and if you do have questions about this particular model, make sure that you're putting them in the comment section down below so we can get the conversation started. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.